I really want to thank Talking with Tonio and Dorian from Group 82 Music for talking to me and taking time out of their schedule to give me that advice that they gave me to not be shy. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of perspectives that really aren't popular with the liberal narrative, but I also have a lot of methodologies and strategies to use that will upset most conservatives. I'm bipartisan. I'm about solving the problem. I'm not about focusing on the issue. I'm not about profiting off the issue. I'm about solving the problem in the most cost effective measures possible without blowing people up or creating more enemies. The enemies that you have are already going to be there, but if you can bridge the gap and you can make relations with those people, then great. You know, it's very hard for me because it feels as if very few people believe in what I believe in, but it also makes sense to me in a lot of ways as well because I don't feel like most people have had the opportunity to go to college and get a full education, to understand autodidactry, and to do the amount of research on my own that I've done over the decades. Um, I've been alive for a while. This stuff has been apparent in society for a while, and it's at a point for me where if someone really can't receive my message from a man like me, they are destined to be delusioned. I don't feel like you have to agree with everything that I have to say, and I open you to disagree. Well, not necessarily. I open you to discussion. I open you to discourse. I open you to have a conversation with me. I don't open any gateway. The devil is in disagreement. And that's why so many things in life are polarized. That's why you can't have an opinion on anything. So I spent many years now. I'm not 28. I went to college when I was 17, and I've been studying the entire time, and I've been in school the entire time too. If you consider having a great public school education, um, I do. If someone had a great education in public school and then they went to trade school or something of that, I definitely respect their knowledge. If you didn't spend any time doing shit, you don't know nothing about nothing, then yeah, I totally understand that. And with so many charlatans, with so many fake gurus, with so many people trying to profit off of you, I completely understand why it's very hard to get a message across these days, and a lot of people complain about it. But I don't want to complain. I think people do want the truth. I think a lot of people do not have possession of the truth. I think a lot of people want to focus on things and focus on conspiracy theories when, there's a lot of real problems that we can solve together, probably within the next decade, next few years. A lot of these problems aren't hard to fix, but it's like all the money is in everything else but the real issues that humanity has. It's like we've created a legitimately like a fake society. It's very real in the physical sense that it functions, and that people go to physical locations or not anymore. Not anymore in the current past 2 to 3 years. That's not really the case necessarily. But before that, you would have what most people call kind of like bullshit jobs. And a lot of the people being fired today, a lot of the people in the Great Resignation are people that had fake bullshit jobs. So a lot of those physical locations that they would go to, they would get paid to go to the physical location, but they wouldn't really do anything of any significance or importance, any real value to life. Or they're able to spend years on the internet just searching Facebook and weird articles and shit like that, and they don't have any real work to do. That's what creates a lot of this nihilism. That's what creates a lot of this obligatory hatred for life on planet Earth, because you're living in an unnatural way that was never intended for you to live, and because of your upbringing or because of your brainwashing and indoctrination, you feel like it's the only life you ever can live. That's why I left college. I left college for that exact. I was in a position where I was basically doing what I would be doing for the rest of my life. And I hated what I was doing. And when you hear the people that, like, I've been working here for 5 years, for 10 years, for 20, I've never done that before. I've been alive for 20 years, 28 years now. I don't think I've ever done anything besides breathing and maybe exercise for like 20 years straight or 27 years straight. And I get there's a lot of like lack of discipline and but it's also just, I found exercise, I was a wrestler, so like exercise was a huge part of my life to an obsessive degree for a very long time. There's certain things in society that once you get very good at them and you're able to kind of look at, I was a politician as well. I did a lot of like many amazing things, but they were really many amazing things to other people that did not hold a very high significance to me in my personal life, within my well-being, within my health, within my family relationships or my friendships and things of that nature, or my intimate relationships. They were great for other people. They were great for people that wanted to leverage me or utilize me or invest in me. They weren't great for me. I had a job where they wanted to promote me because I had a great personality. I could work with people like other people couldn't. But I had no idea what the fuck I was doing every time I went to work. I went to work and I had no idea what the fuck no one really did. You're encouraged to research your issues. That's like where I learned a lot of my research skills, because you're sitting there with someone staring at you. As a software repairer, all my friends were computer science majors, but I was in the social sciences. But there's not really, where the fuck do you get a job at 18, 19 years old? As a social scientist, there's Burger King, some shit like that, basically. You go to Starbucks or some shit like that. So my dude got me into this tech job, and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. But I would say that today in 2022, that was then, I had like more computer knowledge than most. Like, obviously, I got the job because I had more computer and technical aptitude than most people had. And I would go to fix computers and fix issues, and there'd be problems that I could fix without even having to research it or look into it like that, because like they were afraid to look into their files. They were afraid to look into their computer. And a lot of what I was learning at that job was that like nothing is going to happen if something goes wrong. What does that mean? Nothing's going to happen if something goes wrong. Like, if someone's computer like honestly breaks, and it's past the point where, like, you don't think that you can fix it yourself, there are so many. If you get really good at computer installations, there are so many computers that are just there, that just exist in the world. You can just, you're not going to recommission and buy every single person a new computer. But if someone is used to using, like, a Latitude desktop or something like that, it's easy to swap out the Latitude desktops, because there's just, you buy them in bulk for those type of situations in businesses. You prepare for failure. You prepare for defeat. You prepare for whenever things don't go your way. And if you can do that early on in the process, it's like a lot of people, like my sister versus me, is that my sister hates hearing anything bad. That if she's thinking something, she hates hearing anything bad that might happen. She hates any sense, so I don't give it to her. I've gotten really good, so I don't give it to her. I can, when it's time to give reality, I'm very good at giving reality in a way that someone can grasp that it is their decision to continue living in the world that they're living in, like Morpheus, I guess, or to take on this new life. And having taken on the new life, having healed from a lot of my past trauma, having made peace with my inner child, and getting my life back on track after a long time of, I dropped out of college. I dropped out of college in a place in which I could have had anything in the world that you wanted. Top of my grade, I was the fucking college honor roll, nigga. Like, I was in an honors college. You had to like be super fucking like about the shit before you got to college, or later down the road you can transfer in. I was on the road to transferring, and it's just like realizing that the shit didn't. What made me realize that the shit didn't matter. I don't know if I've ever talked about this before or not. Was my professor Phil Hamrick dying, and I never like got the clear. They found him dead. So it could have been natural causes. It was very sudden, though, which made me believe that it was suicide. Because at the time, I was very, like, I had a lot of suicidal tendencies. I had a lot of, like, negative. That's my whole overall thing is, like, that lifestyle and the people that you're around, it brings so much negativity. It brings so much stress. It brings so much opposition, so much competitiveness, so much people ignoring you. People want to be better than you. People want to surpass you. There's only one spot and there's 20 of you. You know, that kind of shit. And it just made me realize when he died how bullshit this all is. Any moment you can drop dead. Any second of any day you can drop dead. And it's like if you had lived your entire life living a lie, avoiding hard work, avoiding challenges, avoiding controversy, avoiding scandal, would you ever have lived life by the time that you died? Would you ever have really been able to look in the mirror and say that I'm happy with my existence, having never taken a single risk? And it's not taking risks for the benefit of other people. It's not taking risks for the entertainment of other people. But it's like, for me, I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be an author. And that's something I wanted to do for a very long time in my life. And writing was something that I loved and enjoyed for a very long period in time in my life. I loved writing since I was about 7 years old. Writing really helped me get through my depression. And sex, a lot of fucking sex and a lot of weed helped me get through depression. But, hey, sex is amazing and weed is delightful and it's given by God. So, hey, those are the natural cures in my mind. I didn't have to spend millions of dollars or thousands of dollars on fucking drugs. And, technically I did. Technically, but not pharmaceutical drugs and shit like that. But I never spent any money on pussy. I'll tell you that. I've never bought pussy before in my lifetime. I've never raped anybody. I've never molested anybody. I've never forced myself on anybody. And I swear to God, to drop dead right now on that. Never done any of that shit in my life. I've never sucked dick for drugs. I've only done weed, so I've never have to do anything crazy. The craziest thing I've had to do for weed is give someone money up front to get the weed the next day. Was the craziest thing I've ever had to do for weed. And that was too much for me. It wasn't the waiting to smoke the next day. It was just how ultimately sketch the guy kind of was about the whole thing. So like, just don't be a fucking sketchy asshole. You're sitting there and I don't want to recollect that moment. I don't want to even think about that experience. That's the craziest thing I've ever had to do for weed, though. Aside from that, man, like the risks that I've taken to be an author, though, have been quite severe and very dramatic, and it's completely changed my perspective of everything that I've ever thought before. And I don't know, it's made me a very different person. So it didn't really come down to risks that I take for other people. It didn't really come down to pandering to anybody. You know. Oh, thank you, Mason. He brought me one of these. He brought one for himself and he brought me one. A cheese? Wanna say hi?
Hi. Geeks. Oh, geeks.
You have anything to say to the people?
Oh, you
ready to go outside? Want to get dressed? Bye. I'll see you later, Mason. Oh, so you do want to go outside? Okay. Give me a second. I'll get you ready. All right. Just give me a second. I'll wrap this up. I wasn't expecting him to come down like that, so I'll wrap this up. I'm pushing ahead. I'm going forward with my beliefs. And I don't view a lot of you. I don't have any enemies. I don't have any haters. I'm not in a position in my life where I give a fuck about your opinion. You don't read my books. You don't pay my bills. You don't talk to me on a daily basis. You ignore my content. You don't do anything for me. So it's like, I can't care about your perspective or hurting your feelings or anything like that because you don't care about my livelihood as a human being, you know? And that's how this is going to work moving forward for the rest of my life. I don't care what you have to say. If I can help you, then great. You know, if you have questions, I will answer them. You know, if you comment a question below, maybe I'll make a whole video to answer your question. I don't know if it's a good question or not. But as far as, like, I don't like you, and I don't like this part that you said, and your ideas about editors, and your link, like, I'm not doing this for monetization right now, you know? Maybe if later down the road I get monetized or something, then great, I'll clean up my act a little bit. Quite honestly, man, all this stuff is really bullshit. And it's not bullshit because it's not like, it just does nothing for anybody. You know, it's like, I'm happy to work at a job now where I know I'm making an impact. I know I'm doing something that is relatively important. And it's work that needs to be done that most people, don't want to do. And as a blue collar guy, you know, like, I'm really about that type of shit, you know? Working hard for something that matters is what I'm all about. And if you're someone who's trying to escape that type of life, to do something that doesn't matter and collect a paycheck and bypass life, no, we're never going to get along. If you think that you don't need to heavily analyze the psychological nature of someone who believes that they're born as a different sex than they currently are biologically, and you don't think that that's a mental disorder, you're retarded. That's 100%. It's literally described as a mental disorder. You know, let me get this shit correct real quick, because it's a real fucking mental disorder. Dysphoria? Or is it transmorphism? Transphoria. Oh, gender dysphoria. So it is an actual mental illness. So you're not wrong for saying that someone is literally insane as a human being for getting a sex change. They are insane. They are crazy. If it's brave, great. But it's also a mark of pure, complete fucking privilege and insanity to change your sex. You have people starving in the world. You know, if it really, you want to really get down to why people don't like me, this is why. It's because there are people that are starving. There are people that are struggling to get by. There are people who are going without opportunity, who deserve opportunity, for a bunch of crazy, selfish assholes who do not care about anybody else but themselves. And when you bring up the world's issues, you bring up things that we can very easily fix as a species, their personal inconvenience is so great and so just beyond reason. And that's how I view women and gay people. It's a privilege to be gay. You're entitled. If you can honestly care about who you have sex with, that is a privilege. If you're a woman that can choose a sexual partner versus just getting whatever guy gives you attention because you're not that attractive or whatever, or being a guy who just never in his lifetime I've obviously had sex. You see my kid, you know, he's heard me talking about it, yeah. But it's like, from that perspective, is that type of guy, like the guy that I guess people are complaining about, you know, that, and I'm not, because I'm black, I'm not white, I haven't experienced any of the things that you're talking about when it comes to being a man or any of that nature, you know. And it's just, the whole way that the argument is had does not produce any progress. It's an argument that is created and deterred and engineered. Engineered being the preemptive word. What's it engineered to? An engineer finds a problem, they create a patchwork solution, or they design something adjacent to the problem. Do they solve problems? Sometimes. Do they create theoretical solutions for problems? Absolutely. But sometimes those theoretical solutions for problems are not solutions for problems. They're theoretically going to solve the problem. And that is the problem with the current idea about racism, feminism, and, gay rights. The entire civil rights movement, in my mind, was designed to be a stalemate. You can't come at this situation pointing fingers, blaming the victim or blaming the oppressor, calling people victims or calling people oppressors, when many people that you call oppressor are victimized by the people that you actually need to be focused on. And a lot of the people that you call victims, women and gay people, are the richest people and the most educated people, and rich people are gay and mostly effeminate. Yeah. So, an already powerful group in society, and now you can't question them, you can't tell them anything. They don't have to treat you properly, but you have to treat them properly. Gay people can say whatever they want about straight people. They can call us cisgender scum and all that type of stuff. But if you say anything about a transsexual person or a gay person or anything like that, y'all can lick my whole dick, and both sides do that already, so I guess there's no real issue. But honestly, that's just my perspective. I don't think that should exist, period, as a black man. There's no group all the things that I've heard about black people, all the things that I've heard said about us, especially the things that you all carry on as true, that are utter and complete fallacy, complete fictions that you've created, absolute lies. Being gay and being transsexual was registered as mental illnesses for many, 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 many decades. For quite a while. It's been kind of a social pariah throughout history. So don't look at us and act like we're crazy for thinking exactly what people have thought for decades and decades and decades. I understand tolerance. I understand advocacy. I understand awareness. I do understand in some degrees, bringing this to the attention of children so children don't bully each other and don't treat each other differently on the basis of their sexuality. I completely understand that. But just as a man, there's so much psychological growth and development that you have to go through to really cater and nurture a child, to really cater and nurture and help a woman grow into her fullest potential as a man. There's a lot of psychological development that I have to go through. So I know for a fact that if I am a cisgendered human being, heterosexual, doing what's been done for centuries and for millennia and for the entire existence of human existence, and there are still things that I need to work on to have great relationships, if there's still things I need to work on to have a great relationship with myself, with my son, with my fiance, soon-to-be wife, once we have this fucking wedding in Puerto Rico or somewhere really cool where no one else can come but the real ones, but the people that really give a shit about us and really fucking helped us during this process, great. But it's for the rest of you really want your opinions to matter to people that would never matter to, and you're always gonna, I play chess a lot now, and sometimes you really think that you have your enemy beat. You've wiped all their pieces off the board, you've done everything that you possibly can to submit them, and then it's just their king left, and you got a few pieces on the board, and you can't win because you've put them in a position where they can't do anything legal to combat you. There's no legal moves that they can make. You've left no other course of action that they can do, and that is a stalemate as well. That is considered a stalemate. And when you limit speech, and I'm not saying like you should, I don't have any issue calling people by their proper pronouns. I don't have any issue adjusting my speech. I don't have any issue. A big part of communication is that you have to talk to people in the language that they speak. And I speak a variety of different languages. So I don't have an issue. I can get better at it for sure. But I don't have any issue with the notion of if I want to reach out to you and talk to you, I got to talk to you in your language. But vice versa as well. If you want people to understand being a woman, you have to communicate that. You don't get to hate men and have these weird campaigns. The shit that you guys doing is fucking weird. That's all I'm going to say. For the women, for the gay people, for the trans people, for the alt-right people, for the Westboro Baptist Church people, the shit y'all niggas is doing is weird as fuck to normal people. This shit's weird. Giving this fuck about your genitalia, caring this much about your sex life in such a public, indecent manner, it's disgusting. It's really gross. And you can tell that you niggas don't have kids. I'm really glad that you guys believe in abortions because I don't think any of you should have kids that believe in this type of stuff because the shit's crazy. It's like we've had a way that works and it's fix the way that works. That's what a smart person does. You don't need to deconstruct and recreate the entire system for the system to work. Look at the parts of the system that work completely fine. Find the parts of the system that are broken. And the pieces of the system that do not function need to be replaced. If it's a hardware issue, I'm getting to a whole different mindset on that. But it's if it is a hardware issue, if it is institutional, if it is driven in a way that it is systematic, then you can fix the system because the system is obviously working for the people that it's working for. The system is obviously working for the people that submit themselves to the system. How do more people are able to find success in the system? How do we change the barriers of entry in order to function the system differently? That's what I'm all about. But it's just talking about disadvantage, just talking about victimization, just talking about who has more than the other person without talking about who worked harder or who invested longer or who saved more or who worked with more people, who got more people rich is ultimately the question at the end. If you want to look at the wealthiest people in the world, you're going to see who made the most people rich. That's number one. Number two, and this is the only two category, everything else is a failed business. I'm going to let that know right there. Who made the most people rich? Who delivered the most value? That's it. There's nothing else that is considered a business. Everything else is a scam. It's a hustle. It's a hobby. It's a trinket. It's a luxury. It's a commodity. It's all this. It's not real big. Who makes people in business needs to make people money. Having great health gets you money. Having a great lawyer gets you money. Having a great personal trainer delivers great value to you. There's a reason why the essential workers were essential workers. And there's a reason why everything else shut down. And that's really where we need to begin analyzing and restructuring our society because there's obviously jobs that are going to be there in the middle of hell. In the middle of hellfire, these jobs are going to exist. And there's other jobs, there's other businesses, there's other industries that we are gearing our kids to. Our kids are in debt. We're in debt. Fuck our kids, we're in debt. Our parents are in fucking debt. Their fucking parents are in debt. And for a lot of us, instead of passing down generational wealth, we're passing down poor financial habits. We're passing down poverty. We're passing down debt. We're passing down mental health issues. We're passing down limiting beliefs. We're passing down slavery. We're passing down anything but what's going to help our kids succeed and create a better world. The better world does not need feminism. It doesn't need racism. It doesn't need homophobia. It doesn't need homophilia. It doesn't need either or. It needs people that are able to make the best decisions for themselves, who are empowered to make the best decisions for themselves. But you all want to manipulate people and control people so they think what is best for you. And that's not how the world exists. That is not what God created. God created a world where people think about what is best for themselves. And when you're able to think about what is best for yourself without being considered selfish, but being considered neutral within your approach, you can't offend anybody because your message isn't geared to offend anybody. It's not geared against anybody. I'm trying to solve the problems that exist. I'm not trying to make up fictionary problems to solve fictionary problems. I'm not trying to make up identity politics so that whenever someone combats my identity politics, it's so personal that it turns into a war. I don't care about any of that. I don't care about anything, really. There's not a lot that's going to bother me. The focus that needs to be given is to solving the real problems that exist. And for now, we're going to focus on that in 2022 within writing and authorship, things of that nature. I guess we're ready to go outside now, so we're done. We're done with this. But I'm tired of just taking this back burner position. I'm tired of being quiet. Well, you have all these idiots, you have all these morons, you have all these just liars. And a lot of times, I wouldn't even call them idiots or morons, because calling them idiots or morons pertains in some way that they don't know what they're doing, and they know exactly what the fuck they're doing. Excuse my language, Mason. Sorry, Mason. My bad. They're honestly just manipulators, and they're liars. And that's it. It's just not more complicated than that. And the longer that we just give in to them, the more that we lose, quite honestly. There are real issues of racism in America. There are real issues in how women are treated in America. Absolutely. How women are viewed. The limitation and how we really enable and empower women. But the response that's been given to that problem is not going to solve it. It's actually just made things way worse. And likewise for gay people, and the sense of people understanding homosexuality,